All right. So what would be nice to talk about today is making local social media marketing work for you, which is, to be honest, a lot of us are small businesses in this group and visitors who've come along. And so really it should be all relevant to how you can go about doing this for your own business and yourself. So firstly, this is why I do what I do. My crazy little family, my 4-year-old twin girls and my 18 months to almost 2-year-old boy, Jack, and my partner, Sharon, who is amazing in supporting me through this journey we're going on together. And for those that want to have a one-to-one with me, I can talk about the lovely lady in the top right-hand corner, who is my, I didn't realize, but a long-lost daughter who's in her early 20s. So there's a story there that I'd love to share with you if you want to have a one-to-one with me, how that came about. But most importantly, I'm born in Ballarat and bred, and people like David, who is this meeting today, know how amazing Ballarat, but how cold it can be. I moved to Melbourne when I was 18 to study at Deakin, and I worked in a PR agency in the early noughties, and we worked on Mars and Yellow Pages and other known brands like that. And we won heaps of awards. It was a great period of my life. Got to hang out with some great people. Worked on those really annoying, for those that can remember, interactive ads back then that you used to be able to, type in your postcodes or engage with them. These days we don't do that. We just click on them or ignore them. The launchpad of Me Bank was something else I did, who was in the news recently for doing the wrong things. Back then when we launched them, they were supposed to do it another way, but I think they've learnt their lesson. So that's that. But then most importantly, as we got closer to the middle of the noughties, I realized I wanted to go out on my own, and I started my own agency, and I formed the Cube Group, which is now called Cube Partners. And it's all based on the strategic creative execution, essentially meaning that most people go straight to the execution part, but really think about how they communicate through a creative way. And they really don't think about strategically how they go about it. And I'd like to help people think about that. I've been able to bring on my experience with a number of brands that I've worked with, a number of them and I've worked with them. And that is meaning that I can take that experience and now translate that to you as a small business, which is why I got excited about social media, which is how most of you know me, is that I really believe that if you can apply the big business mentality to your small business in the local arena and apply it to these amazing mediums that are now there and free and available for you to just put your time and effort into to communicate, you can get some great results. And I have some amazing clients that have done that recently. This big screen just shows you a whole bunch of fact that even though I'm all about strategy and I've got Cube Social, I really believe email marketing, if done effectively, can work for you and complement what you do socially. And most importantly, you need to track your data. You need to understand what is going on when you do what you do. So most importantly, you can see down the bottom there, I'm talking about the fact that it's important for people to get to know who you are. And then once they know who you are, it's about how they find you. Once they find you, it's really understanding how you can improve your reputation so that that credibility comes around, so that where social comes into it is really about how you make yourself more likable. Now, it doesn't mean likes. It just means the fact that you're approachable, you are solution orientated, you have what someone is looking for, and you can actually communicate that. And that's where your website will come into that. And as David, the local web guy in this room, understands the importance of websites, is once they're there, they need to convert. And so if they're converting, they become a client, and that becomes an experience. That experience is where, again, social comes back into it, because they jump back onto social and tell others about you, or they see people mentioning something about someone that needs a blah. If you're that blah, they shout out to you, or they put links to those things. So that's why it's important to have your online presence as professional as possible. So what I try to do with clients that I work with is try to make them understand that being a local business is awesome, and that you need to find a way to differentiate yourself. You need to think about how you can do that and be different from your competitors in your local area, and then at the same time be top of mind. And what's exciting about being in a group like we are today is that you have your network and your community. And if we work together, we can actually create a bigger community, because our contacts become everyone else's contacts. And it means we can share and communicate in a great way on the local area, and hopefully increase each other's inquiries. What's important about this is really understanding your business goals. So when I work with clients, I have this essential process that I go through, but what you'll understand is on the top left-hand corner here, at the very bottom is business. So it's business strategy is your foundation. So really understand what your business is about, so that when we come to looking at applying the brand to it, it's easier and easier as we move up this ladder to get to promotion and marketing, that we know who we're talking to, what we're going to offer them, and who the ideal customer is. What's also exciting about social media is, and we're an example of one of these bubbles down here on the left, is we have a network. So as I mentioned earlier, having a network means that when you publish or push things out, if we work together as a collective, we can enhance a post that maybe could only get 1 or 2 or 10 or 20, maybe now we'll get 30, 60, 100 odd clicks or engagements or views because of everyone engaging in that content. So it's really important that as a collective, we try to support each other online, because at the moment is really just about sharing, which could be an endorsement, and then you can take it from there. I've worked with a number of clients that are even in this meeting today about this one pager. It's a really valuable tool that I use with clients to really take them on the journey of understanding who their customer is, and then understanding what we're going to do with them, why you're the person to talk to, and what solution you provide that's unique, and where we're going to do that and how often, and then what we're going to do with it in what mediums. And so that process is what I take all clients through. And as I said, I've got proven time and time again, if you do this effectively, you can get results. So most of us here in our world, we call it referrals. In this diagram on the screen, you're going to see it called a conversion. Now, what's to the left and right of that is advocacy and reputation. And in these meetings, that's what we do. We develop advocacy by telling others about us and then working with us, and then they go out and tell others about us. We build our reputation by consistently giving messages. What's important beyond our little bubble in this meeting is being found and then raising the awareness outside this meeting. And that's why I'm talking to a number of you about how we can do this with the group and what we can do so that we can increase conversions, be more valuable on search presence, and be more aware of where we are. I won't go into this video because we don't have time today. But as I've touched on there, again, it's all about how people know you, find you, trust you, how they like, convert, and then become loyal customers. When I work with a number of clients, I work on how I do it for you, and that's where I sit in my sweet spot. But a number of clients I work with, I do it with them. And an example of that is yesterday I received a call from a client that last week I set them up and I said, you need to do videos. You need to explain what you're doing in this COVID environment. They did that, put the video out, and yesterday I got a call from them saying, Chris, we've just signed a new client for over $100,000 proposal because they believed in my message and they had a team that needed his services. And that was one video he just did off his own bat for 30 seconds that turned into a $100,000 return. So that's understanding, if you know who your audience is and you connect with them, as James mentioned earlier, a solution you can provide and you show empathy, it will be resonating in social media. If you go hard sell and you try to push, it generally is seen through as tacky or non-believable, or the integrity is not there. So you need to find your voice and then find ways to do it. That's where I highly recommend you use some budget, whether it be a small budget, but even just some money to think about who you can target. But because putting a relevant ad in front of somebody is going to get a better result than just putting out something random. And a lot of people do this wrong. They just click the boost button and just hope for the best. It's not just about boosting. It's about understanding the psychology of who you're trying to target and their interests and where they go, behavior, all those kind of things. So you need to think about that when you're doing your program. Now, the lucky winner today, Alison, is going to get this from me, and we're going to go through this. We're going to find people who want to document their current COVID environment. I'm going to use this on the screen here. This is something that I highly recommend, and this is actually what I've given Alison today, is I'm doing this for Yazdan at the moment, and it's basically on the left is a video that he has been given from one of his suppliers. We've used their expertise and their, I guess, awesome video they provided him to give him instant credibility. Through that, we ask a quote. From that quote, we can then say, tell us what product you're interested in. And because they're on Facebook, their data is already pre-filled. And when I started this 5 years ago with clients and even 10 years ago, it was kind of spooky and scary. People were like, I'm not giving my data away. But we've become more and more accepting of this behavior. And what's happening now is people do it in the droves. So if you have a great way to attract somebody's interest to get them to give you your details, there is also on the Facebook platform a thing called a lead center. And you can now get the results inside Facebook and never have to leave Facebook, but you can get the leads. You can also connect it with your CRMs. You can do a whole bunch of stuff with this. So it becomes really, really powerful. And websites are still relevant, but it means they're not having to always go to the website to give the lead away. They're staying in the comfort. So what I want to be mindful of here is that when it comes to your posting and your message, and how frequently you use it, keep it consistent. It's truly the success. So what I mean by that is don't change your message. If you're going to do something, do it for 90 days and keep that consistent message about, like I heard Nick earlier talking about the end of financial year and some of the things you need to do around that. He would make sure he's doing that for the next 3 months, because right now is when people are thinking of end of financial year and their tax returns and super and all those things. Same as what Jerome was doing with his problem solving around headaches. He would have to do that consistently and it would pay off eventually because people get headaches all the time. Now, we're coming to the presentation, so I just want to quickly highlight here again what I've done for Perfect Blinds, and they were spending about 7 to 8K on advertising in a period, and they had this kind of return on their investment, right? So they were paying $5.40 a click, and they were paying $136 for each inquiry they were getting. After working with myself, I was able to get the same results, but spending way less money. So instead of him now paying $5 a lead, I was able to get him down to 76 cents. Instead of him paying $136 a lead, I was getting it down to 22. When people engaged with his ad, instead of it being 0.6%, they were getting 2 to 3%, which means he was getting 4 times the click-through rate and the higher return on the investment and at a lower cost. So there's all these perks to what I was doing for what he's doing. So it's understanding who you're doing. Now, I'm just going to quickly talk about us now.
One minute.
That's all right. As a group, what I want to highlight here is that I want to help us protect what we're doing as a group. I want to find a way to differentiate us from the group. I already know from the feedback from other groups in BNI that we are standing out at the moment. We're looking different and everyone's saying, who's doing your stuff? What's going on? So I know it's working. And that the idea of this is to increase inquiries. What the idea is, we're going to use each keynote speaker who is talking to not just say that you're presenting on accounting, you're actually going to give us a story around accounting, and we're going to actually then make that a marketing opportunity for us to push it out there. We're going to do that. On Mondays, we're going to do email announcements. On Tuesdays, we're going to talk about see you tomorrow, and then we're going to talk about what categories we want to come along. Today, what we do is record these sessions, we record the education, the speaker pitches, and the speaker promos, and we push those out. On Thursday, we talk about the podcast. And on Friday, we either use the speaker profile to highlight what we're doing, or we use a testimonial from them. Here's some examples of what I've done recently for our group. You can see here, again, what I'm trying to show is that James just didn't talk about IT. He talked about how to secure it and what that importance is. With Mel, it was all about time, heartache, and money, the time she saves you. With myself, it was how to make local session marketing work for you. What we also do is now we're going to give you personalized Eventbrite screens like this, so you can promote and market to your own thing. So this means that you now have trust and credibility and all that awareness opportunity that I was talking about earlier for your own speaking gig each week. I'm also going to be putting this onto LinkedIn. So this is a new feature that LinkedIn have. So you can also, if you're more of a corporate type person, we can promote on LinkedIn. You would have seen recently, we're also now doing vacant and targeted category posts so that we can actually attract these. If we aren't targeting the ones you want, I'd love you to tell me what we aren't doing so that we can actually get these out there and attract these kind of members and visitors to our group. Most importantly, each week we do these videos, which you're seeing here. So the benefit of being a member and a group is you get 2 of these and they go across to those mediums. To finish, also, you saw the email earlier. The reason the importance of this is it allows us to track and look at where people are going. Is the content engaging? In the case of this, the numbers are at the moment low because we're only just starting it out. But as we keep doing this and it becomes consistent, you'll notice that you'll start to get higher and higher engagement. And that is me talking about how we can help the group and how you can help yourself with your small business in local social media. Thank you for listening. And if you get a chance, visit locallysocially.com. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Chris. Fantastic presentation. If you